Hello and welcome to FPL Animate. My name is Oded. So, double game week 22 is upon us, and now that the fixtures are settled, we can start thinking about our next move. Shall we stay with the players that we have now? Do we use maybe our free hit or mix it all again and wildcard for this game week? In this video I will talk about wildcarding, what to do and not to do before you click on the approve button for your wildcard team. I also talked about the schedule for every team from game week 22 till game week 28, who got the best fixtures now, who will have better ones in a few games weeks, and how to maneuver the players you pick between that. We'll also take a look which players you should be considered placing in your wildcard team and some players to keep an eye on. And finally some templates for wildcard teams. Just random ones that you can find useful if it's hard for you to decide which players to go for. So we thought there will be a lot more double game weeks this week, but only 8 teams got it. Brentford and Burnley are irrelevant because they got the hardest fixtures and nobody takes their players anyway. So check which teams got the best fixtures for 4 or 6 games ahead after game week 22, so you will know which players you should focus more on to bring in your team for the long run. You can go all the way to game week 38 and choose a player that you think will do you good up until then, but with the corona situation, double game weeks updates along the way, reschedule of games and cups, you will never know which team or which player will play in the 6 or 8 weeks to go. So the long run is good for 4 or 6 game weeks ahead, hopefully without any interference. As many of you know, a lot of Premier League players won't be available up until game 25, even because of their national duty going to AFCON. The main ones of course are Salah and Mane from Liverpool. That can affect the performance of their teams as well. Teams will need to rely on other players, maybe change formation and bring players who didn't play too much for so far. Arsenal will miss 5 players, Leicester 4. How Liverpool is going to play without their main strikers. All that need to be considered, and of course you need to think about those players coming back on game week 25 and find the funds to bring them back to your team. This part should not affect our decision in the short run because we don't know who is going to sign where in the next month. Everton signed a new left back a few days ago. Does it change anything about the way we think about Everton poor defense? Probably not. But new players will come and may change the team dynamic. So Everton, with a nice run of fixtures who sign a new left back, can be a surprise differential no one thought about. The next one is quite obvious. Lots of people did their transfers even before the official announcements of double game week 22, even before the FA Cup games on Saturday. It's a mistake. You don't know what will happen with players with more than a week to go, so hold on to the last day or even the last hour and make up your mind. Players you consider taking can get injured during those games in the FA Cup, so be patient. So this is the current schedule for the upcoming few weeks. If you look closely you can see which teams in this page have a nice run of fixtures up until game 28 and even further along the way. Even if most of them don't have a double game week this week, they will probably reschedule in game week 26 or even after game week 33. For now the best options look like Aston Villa, Everton and Manchester United. The problem with those teams right now that they are not looking too good, and it's hard to bet on who to pick from those teams right now. Other teams may have tough fixtures in the games to come but have better ones further along. In the other page is the rest of the teams you might consider taking players from. Here are the more difficult games because the fixtures for most of them is very tricky and none of them have an easy strike of games one after the other, beside Watford with game week 22, 23 and 24. Black spot intended that teams will not have second game in game week 22 or blank in another week for now. The blue circle means that there will be cups match between these game weeks, and the red one means that those teams will play in the Europe between game weeks as well. So which players we consider to start building our wildcard teams? Start with Aston Villa, who look better after Gerrard took over but still concede goals in almost every game. Game week 21 was no exception with 2 goals in the net against Brentford. But the fixtures are there for Aston Villa. They may play Manchester United in game week 22 but don't have double game week, but as you can see, pretty nice fixtures after that. We could have called them a great set of fixtures if Aston Villa defense would perform better in the last few games. But the option for clean sheet from game week 23 till game week 28 is still high compared to the rest of the teams. And they still got one of the best goalkeepers in the league with a price tag that fit him. Many managers prefer cheaper goalkeepers so they can maneuver their funds somewhere else, and I just don't like it. Keeper can make you points like any other player. Maybe not an attack in return, but solid 6 points for a clean sheet is better than a 4 million keeper who can save every game and maybe get 1 extra point for 3 saves. So it seems the best choice of keeper to start the second half of the season, but it's not only up to him of course to keep Aston Villa from not conceding goals. Cash and Target both cheap defenders more or less with abilities to attack as well and get an attack in return. Cash seems more nailed, but Target seems more dangerous around the box along with his long shots outside and inside the box. Mings and Konsa are okay picks too, but they only come in handy in set pieces. So if Aston Villa will improve their defense, it's worth taking even one defender from them even if you got Martinez as well, because again, the fixtures are there. I would place Watkins here as well, but the situation with him in this club is unknown. Is he injured? Is he sick? Is he leaving the club? Is he joining Arsenal in the transfer windows? Who knows? That's why Ings is here. And injury concerns always around him, but if he will be fit, he can come with nice numbers in games to come. Also on penalties of course, and he will remain nailed if he is fit. Around his price range with the good fixtures are Antonio and Calvert-Lewin. So it's all about who you think will perform better and which players around those strikers can get them some returns. In a keeping an eye box, it's more of a differential players in those teams. Low ownership, great talents, but still waiting for them to go big and start bringing points and returns. In Aston Villa is Buendia. His first season in Aston Villa not going so well as expected, with a lot of injuries coming out of the bench and only 4 returns. Jacobs Ramsey seems like the players who grow the most in the past few weeks, but Buendia got the talent and the ability to play better. Maybe with the fixtures that come and the fact that he is the most creative player right now in the team, we will see more of him. There are better options in this price range, but not better fixtures for all of them. So maybe the second half of the season will do him well. Now that Coutinho from Barcelona joined the club as a loan, it will be interesting to see what this price will be and if he will take the spot on the 11 start right away. Manchester United is a weird team that I don't fully get yet, in which tactics they play, who is in charge in the middle and which system are they playing with. The game against Wolves showed that they have zero creativity or solution to top defense like Wolves have. The good thing that they won't meet defense like that till game week 28 when they face Manchester City. Aston Villa and West Ham have better defense than the rest of the teams Manchester United will face along the way, but can't compare them to top defensive teams. So even if Manchester United will play bad at the moment, they can score in each game and every game from now till game week 28. In defense, De Gea showed why he is one of the best keepers in the Premier League so far with an average of more than 3 saves a game. Quite obvious when you got defenders while the worst shape of their life. So he can be considered as a high pick for the first keeper's position as well. With the defenders, only Shaw can stand out of all of them right now and not stand too high because his season so far in this team is pretty poor. But if you're going for Manchester United defender because of the fixtures, he may be the best option just because he is on set pieces. Just remember he won't be able to play in game week 22 due to suspension, so only can come back against West Ham in game week 23. I'll sit on the bench for this game as well. Greenwood seems the one that get the most chances right now in the middle, but you never know if Rashford or Bruno will take his place. If he does start in every game, he is the great options against teams with poor defense all the way through game week 28. With 3.3 shots on goal for 90 minutes, I do believe he will get these returns, but will he start in every game? It is place to lose. And of course Ronaldo seems that he can play 2 games a week, at least until Champions League will start again. He doesn't do much during the game and doesn't need to, just need to be in the right place for assist or the rebound. With his high price he can be the premium player you got in your team, at least until Salah come back. Liverpool will face the upcoming games in the unfamiliar territory with 2 of their best players will go until game week 25, maybe 24. Salah and Mane were responsible for 40 returns so far for Liverpool this season, and it will be interesting to see how Liverpool will adjust to this situation and who will be up front along with Jota. Will Firmino will be recovered from COVID till Gameweek 22, while Origi will fit to play, Thiago and Minamino also injured, and Keita as well will be off to AFCON. With Matip and Alisson still recovered from COVID as well, it will be very interesting to see which Liverpool team will go up against Brentford. The real issue will be in the middle, of course, but in wildcard terms, Alexander-Arnold will of course be the first choice with 11 returns already, and probably his ownership will rise above 50 until the deadline. If you want to go against the crowd, Robertson will be the fine pick as well and cost only 7 million. Van Dijk could be a good choice if you decide for the games to come to double up on Liverpool defense because you don't want anyone else in front beside Jota. And Jota will be, for the first time in his career in Liverpool, the main man. Just wonder which position he will take on the pitch, on the right, left or in the middle. Depends who plays next to him. As the way I see it, if Firmino is fit, he will play in the middle, Jota will take Salah's spot and Curtis Jones will take Mane's spot on the left. Could be Alexander Chamberlain as well, but he could be in the first line with Henderson and Fernandinho. And also Milner, of course. But Liverpool need more creative players up front, so I do believe Jones will play more minutes and can contribute a lot more. He played 4 games so far and had 2 returns, so he's a differential who may or may not play. Depends who is going to be fit for the upcoming games. But for 5 million cost, maybe it's an interesting idea to bring him along and see if he starts or he can sit on the bench for this price. But if you are going for 3 Liverpool players, you should think ahead when you're gonna get rid of one of them if you want Salah back in Gameweek 25. With Manchester City, everything is pretty much known. You know what you're gonna get from each players by now. The only thing that change is rotation. Manchester City will face Chelsea next, will be without Mendy, James, Chilwell, Christian, and maybe with Silva, Chalobah and Kante do injuries as well. So Chelsea defense seems a bit vulnerable against the best teams in the league. After that, pretty nice game, so may consider double up on Manchester City attackers. With Mahrez gone for AFCON, maybe it will be a bit easier to figure out who will start in every game. The most nailed one seems to be De Bruyne. This is the time to bring him on with his high price when Salah is not around. 3.5 shots and key passes for 90 minutes is pretty high, and I don't see him not start of any of this game to come. And you can always transfer him out in game week 25 or 26 for Salah in only one move. Other option of course is Foden, who will probably play much more as a number 9 when Jesus or Sterling can take the right wing. But you also have to consider Bernardo, Gundogan and Grealish, so again it's hard call to decide which Manchester City attackers to bring. In defense, Cancelo is the obvious choice even with his high price, but he is still the best attacking defender in the league along with Alexander-Arnold. If you're looking for more safe pick for 3 Manchester City players, I recommend Laporte. He's a solid player who plays all Manchester City games except 4 and the biggest threat when the Manchester City gain set pieces. You can see him staying in the box even after the set pieces sometimes, waiting for another cross. That's how he got his return in the last game against Arsenal. Sterling is in great form on penalties as well. If he was cheaper in price, probably most of us would have picked him already. So he's a bit of a differential in this group of players. Everton will be one of those teams that had the best fixtures, but you don't want to touch any of their defensive players. Maybe with their rival, the new left back to the club, we will see improvement. But until then, even if the fixtures look great for Everton, going with Pickford or any Everton defenders is a risk. Pickford coming in a reasonable price and almost have 3 saves per game, but I don't see many people jump and take him because Everton concede in every game except 3. If you do want to take some risk and get a defender, better go for Keane. Not seem that Luka Digne will be back if ever, and Keane is the only one who has attacking defender in Everton with 3 returns so far, mostly from set pieces. We will have to wait and see how the new left back will adjust to the team and what he'll bring with him. On the attacking side, there are far more options to choose from. Breakthrough season is the main reason Everton got some returns. He missed only 1 game and got 8 returns so far. He kept Everton above the water when Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison were out, so he will be the first target to transfer in for Everton, running along with Doucouré, who had a great season as well. but play a little bit behind. With Luka Ding and Townsend out, set pistol will be on Gray, so that's another reason to bring him in. The big mystery for me is Calvert-Lewin. After so long with not playing time, he returned last game and seems a bit rusty. The penalty he missed showed that the most, but he come now in his lowest price. He will be nailed every game on penalties, even if he missed this last one, and the fixtures are just too good to leave him out of your team. You just need to get back in form or pretend it's the start of the season, because we all know how good he is after a long rest. And Gordon can be a nice differential, showing his skills in the last few games. With Townsend out for unknown time, Gordon took his place and played with a lot of passion. With his low price, only 4.5 million, he can hide in jam. He surely can play every game and easily can be benched as well because of his low price. Crystal Palace is in a similar situation more or less, with 3 easy games on paper, 2 tricky ones and 2 hard ones. Is it worth to take any of those players? Defensive had up and downs all season long. Guaita will just come back on goal after sitting on the bench for 2 games, can be the second keeper for your team or maybe the first with a cost of only 4.6 million, same as Sanchez for Brighton. Guai showed much improvement this year along with 2 attacking returns. All Palace defenders are cheap and can be great backup for the bench, but he is the one who stands out from all of them. Gallagher still struggles with the COVID. If he will play, I guess he will be in a much deeper position with the absence of Zaha and Uhu. So he is another option for a cheap midfielder who is on set pieces as well. Edouard has 6 returns in the last 4 games and seems in the best shape in the team right now. With the support of Gallagher and maybe Olise, who can start games, you can expect more from him against any team, even the big ones. Many will jump on Dennis or King for games to come because of their easy fixtures, but Edouard has a very low ownership and can be a good sub if you already got 2 top strikers and want one more if you want to play the 3 strikers formation. Olise may get more minutes now that Zayn Ayew on AFCON. He shown in the last game that he is very talented and can change games. If he was 4.5 million, I would have considered bringing him along as a good sub, but his price is too high for this position and there are now far better options. But it will be interesting to keep an eye on him too in the following weeks. Wolves here only because of their defense, nothing else. The chemistry between the players and the way they close open gaps to teams playing against them find it very hard to find a free spot inside and outside Wolves' box. Salah so far is one of the best keepers this season with 8 clean sheets and almost 8 saves per game. Wolves can deal with any offense in the league as we saw against the big top clubs and the fixtures aren't that bad. It might be a good choice to pick him as the first keeper and of course of the defenders of Wolves off as well. The big question, who is going to take Sia's place when he's off to AFCON? Would it be Marcel who will take this spot and let It-Nouri go back to his original position? Seems like the logic move. How much Sia's absence will affect Wolves' defense remains to be seen. In terms of which defenders to take, it's really not that important. None of them have a great attacking skills. It's more of keeping a clean sheet and getting those bonus points. It-Nouri seems when he did play the most attacking and he's the cheapest one. West Ham got the okay fixtures as well, but I cannot know which team will come on the pitch. The one that defeated Chelsea and Liverpool or the one who lost to Southampton and looked bad against Palace. You can blame on the problems West Ham have on defense. Cresswell, Zuma and Ogbonna injuries really weakened West Ham defense and they could have been in a worse position if it wasn't for Fabianski who kept his high level of form between the goal. 5 million cost, 3 saves per game, less than 4% ownership. Maybe this is his time to shine and get more credit. In terms of defense for now, I think Johnson still is the better option than Sufal or Dawson. With his low price and spot-on crosses in the attack in the box, he could be a very good valuable. But last game may concern me after he got sub on half-time. I think it was more because of his yellow card than anything else. So for me, he is the one and he can play right or left back. In offense, not much to say about Bowen, who leads the league with 13 assists, playing the best football of his life and probably will take more charge now that Benrahma is an AFCON and Forlan still not recover. He and Antonio will be even more popular right now from now on and for good reason. The best differential so far for me is Lanzini, who got his spot in the middle by right and showed that he can play as good as any other player. The big plus about him, of course, that he's on penalties as well. So with his low price and low ownership, he's a steal because no one is going to take his place right now in the starting 11. Other names come in mind from seeing this page of the rest of the teams are Son and Kane, of course, with double game weeks. Madison for Leicester with 3 good games, even though 80% of Leicester teams are injured or in AFCON. Watford will double game week as well, and Dennis and Kane will enjoy massive ownership. And Brighton is always a good pick for a defender. So I played 3 templates just to show how wildcard teams can look like, more or less. But you got variety of players right here. Aston Villa players can come on game week 23 and not facing Manchester United in game week 22. Everton with 2 players, Liverpool with 2 as well. More players here with only 1 game this week, but for the long one they will be better ascent than the ones who have double game week in the game week 22. Other option is to go with 3 strong strikers with the great fixtures and only have 1 premium player in the middle. De Bruyne, who can be replaced if you like with Salah in game week 25. Just remember to save some money in the bank for that kind of move. And again, so many options between the keepers, the midfielders and the strikers, but it seems like a balanced team for the upcoming fixtures. And the third one I made just for fun, a team of differentials. I don't think anyone will go for it, but it will be interesting to see how many points this team can come up with along the way. Maybe I'll try to keep a score for all of those templates and see who come up with the highest score. No premium players in this template, but let's face it, it's a good team for the fixtures to come. And that's about it. Thank you for watching my video. Do subscribe to my channel and give this video a big like. It's not easy to make those videos on a weekly basis, so appreciate the effort and show me some like. Goodbye for now and good luck to all.